I am playing Valheim in reverse using innovative tricks and challenging myself to beat Valheim, starting with the last boss and working my way backwards through the game. Welcome back to the Valheim Reverse series. We are back right where we ended off last episode in this same infested mine, trying to break our way through and get as many black cores as we can, as well as progress our way into the Mistlands as we near our way towards the end of the game. But before we get started, I want to thank you guys so much. We made it to 2,000 subscribers, which was my goal. We'll talk about another sub goal at the end of the video, but I want to dedicate this little beginning to just saying thank all of you guys who have supported me so far, and if you guys are new here, thank you so much for watching, and for all of you guys, I hope you enjoy. Last episode we did work our way fully into the Mistlands. We've got our silver set pretty much completely set up, and even literally everything that we're probably going to need other than the weapons that we get from here on. But what we need first is black cores, and we tried to get them last episode, but I have spent probably the last 4 hours of the playthrough, not just in this infested mine, but just dealing with the Mistlands in general, trying to get my stuff back from the mine, trying to find spots for a base, trying to clear the stuff around the area so that I can get food and resources, and then also, yes, dying to this mine for a lot of that time. But we're getting close to breaking through literally everything in the mine. It kind of just seems like the entire mine was open and that everything could hear the fight and just kept coming up, which means that pretty soon we will be down and pretty much free to explore the entire infested mine, where hopefully we will find some black cores and anything else that we might need for our playthrough. But the main focus is that we get 5 black cores. As soon as we get those, we'll come back probably outside that dungeon and start setting up a base right there or nearby, because we are going to run everything for the Mistlands from over here rather than try and get it back to base. Okay, so it's taken me almost a countless amount of deaths, but we are getting to the point where I can almost freely walk at least out of this freaking entrance area, which is kind of insane that it's taken this long. But these seekers are really not that strong. The stuff left really is not that powerful, and they're not overwhelming me nearly as much as they were before. So hopefully, as long as there's no more crazy pathways that I can open up that have literally hundreds of things in them, I will be free to explore most of this. Now, I'm sure there's going to still be some resistance from stuff in here, but it seems like most of it met me at the entrance. So hopefully, now that everything's mostly cleared, I'll be able to walk around and just kind of check out. Again, we're looking for black cores, but there's a lot of really good stuff we can find in here. We can find good food, we can find potions, we can find absolute tons of coins and a whole bunch of other stuff, as well as just getting the stuff from the mobs in general will give me a lot more stuff to upgrade any of the weapons and armor that I can make from the Mistlands, as well as give me a lot better food. That is part of the reason that I'm getting so wrecked in this dungeon, is because I really do not have very much good food back at base. So hopefully something like the cooked seeker meat and stuff will give me a little bit more life, but running the Mistlands with just silver is gonna kind of be a challenge no matter what kind of food we run with it. But we're gonna keep looking around. There is seem to be a couple more layers to this, though there is some more stuff trapped behind these walls. I should be able to take care of it fairly easily and just explore. It does look like it's a decent sized mine, so hopefully there's at least a couple cores in here. I don't expect to get all of them from this first one, but if I can, it'd be pretty sick. So we're gonna go down there after we clear the area and check out what we can find. Okay, we are finally headed downstairs. Everything else is cleared. There really wasn't much else up here, but this bottom room does show some black cores, as well as there's another seeker soldier, but I can also see a hidden room, which means that we may actually have the chance to get all of the cores that we need from in here, or at least a decent amount of them. At least I know at bare minimum I am getting at least one. But I gotta take care of yet another seeker soldier. This is freaking insane how many of these I've had to take on this for just this one mine. I feel like it's a little unusual, but it's alright because we can take care of it. Hopefully we'll get some mandibles to upgrade our spear. I don't even know if we need those, but we need them to craft it, so I assume we need it to upgrade it. And also, yeah, we can get this thing to break some black marble for us down here as well. So we're gonna get this thing taken care of, get any of the other seekers taken care of, and then pick up that black core, as well as check what's in that back room, because even if there's no black cores in that back room or that hidden room, there will probably be at least some decent loot. So we're gonna kill this and then go check that out. Alright, seeker soldier is down, which is absolutely amazing. It actually was not that bad. It got kind of stuck in a spot where I could just whack its weak spot over and over and over, which is pretty sick. But now it's time to actually look at what we got, as well as while we do grab this first black core, as well as check out the other rooms around us. I can hear some more stuff in the background, so we got to be a little bit careful, as there might be some more seekers back there in these other sections, but I want to explore a little bit and see what else is down here. On top of that, I just did think of something. So I'm complaining about not having very good food, which is obviously going to happen. I'm not going to have the cauldron upgrades that I need to make this the best playthrough ever, but with the black marble that I just got that seeker soldier to break for me, I am probably going to be able to go ahead and make the mortar and pestle for the cauldron, which is pretty sick because that'll give us access to a little bit better food. On top of that, we only got one black core. We didn't get anything else from inside of there, which sucks a little bit, but I'm going to head back to base because I really shouldn't be messing around with any of this stuff without a little bit better food, at least for the time being, because it does look like I'm going to have to go find another mine. And again, I really shouldn't be doing that without the food. I at least would like to be able to have the stamina to run away from things, even if I can't survive a single hit, but that's at least what I would like. So we got the mortar and pestle made. We'll have a little bit better food in the cauldron, and then I also will cook up some higher health food. Again, it's nothing compared to what I should have in the Mistlands, but it's better than what I was running just now. So I'll keep this stuff on me. money, we'll make a little bit more food, we'll get anything else that we need to be prepared, and we'll start to go back and find another one because we only got one core from that first room, and unless I miss something, there's nothing else in there. Luckily for me, while running around trying to mark out swords to get iron originally when I was down here the first time, I had marked out anything that I thought in the distance might be a infested mine or something that at least looked like one. And while disappointingly the first 2 or 3 that I walked up on were just abandoned structures with seekers in them, one of them actually did end up being an abandoned mine. And after I take care of these seekers outside, I should pretty easily be able to head into this one. It's not very far from our other one, and while I will probably die quite a few more times, I do have a little bit better food, so maybe I can survive, and hopefully there will not be 3 seeker soldiers poking me at the entrance as soon as I get in here, so maybe I'll have a slightly better chance at doing this a little bit more effectively than I did before. But even if not, we'll power through it. Even if I die 1,000 more times, we'll power through it. We'll get down here, and hopefully we'll find 4 black cores to complete our black forge, but if not, we do still have a couple more marked out, so either way we should be able to get it done. I just do not want another dud of one where I go through a couple hours of going through it just to get 1 black core. I'd like to get at least a couple from this one, so we're gonna get it the first little section cleared out. We'll run in and see what we can find, and then hopefully, like I said, hopefully this one will be a little bit more successful than the last one, but if not, we'll be all right. Spoiler alert, the last one was not more successful than the previous one, and I'm not even going to make you guys suffer through watching me die that many times. I spent probably another 2.5 hours in that infested mine over 3 play sessions, which I'll explain why in a second, just getting absolutely wrecked, just spending most of the time trying to get my stuff back, and it did not give me anything, which was a big problem, but that's okay because we found another one not very far away once again, and hopefully this one will be a little more promising. Now the last one didn't offer us that much resistance, but I mean obviously it did because it took us a few hours, but it wasn't like another insane amount of stuff inside. There's just a bunch of ticks hopping on me and killing me, which yes, you can roll them and stuff, but I could not. And then so many seekers, not even like, again, it's not, this one wasn't like a bunch of really hard to kill things, it was just way too many things. And yeah, again, I got some food and some coins and some potions. I didn't come out with much more than that though, so that was a bit disappointing, but it's nothing too bad. We'll still live through it, but it did break my spirit a little bit, and it, like I said, it was over 3 play sessions because I was at this point getting a little frustrated with the mistlands. Obviously this is a really big part of the playthrough, is getting these black cores, and being able to do this with just silver weapons and stuff is one of the difficulties of the playthrough. But that doesn't mean that just because it's an expected difficulty that it's not still frustrating when it's happening. So yes, I spent my time doing that one in a few different play sessions, but hopefully actually this time this one is better than that one, and hopefully even if it offers us multiple hours of struggle and death, that we set up our bed outside so we'll be able to respawn very quickly and get through it a little quicker, and hopefully again we will find our stuff inside. But if we don't, just like before, we will persevere and go for more. We just need a few more black cores, and then I want to move my portal down below next to that where our first dungeon was at, and then set up a little base in there because I think that's the best little pre-built structure around where we're at right now. But all I need is a couple black cores from this place, and I will be so much happier and in such a better mood than I am now, because like I said, I knew this was going to be hard, but that doesn't make it any less frustrating while it's actually happening. Okay, I did make a slight mistake. Looking back at the previous footage, I actually did find 2 cores inside that dungeon, but when editing, I was reliving the despair of how I felt through this, knowing that I had spent about 3 or 4 hours in that last one just to get nothing, when in reality, I did actually find 2 of them. So we have 3 at this point in time, and I just found a 4th one in here, as well as I can see one behind this seeker, which puts us at the 5 that we need. Like I said, I was so depressed over like reliving this while editing it that I completely missed it. So we do actually have all 5, and like I said from the last dungeon, with those 2 cores that we got from the last crypt, or from the last mine, we did also end up with a bunch of food and potions from those little secret rooms. So I have like 100 sausages as well as a bunch of coins and stuff, but that puts us at the amount of black cores that we absolutely need. Now if we want more for anything else, we can look at that, but for right now, this is all we need. We need 5. If we need to make anything else, then we can break our black forge for a second, but this is all we need right now. We have our 5. We're gonna move, I think, our portal down to that little dungeon area, and we are going to be able to, if we can get the iron and stuff, which we'll talk about that whole process here in a second, we will be able to make our arbalist and our crom and hopefully get them even maybe upgraded at least a little bit. All right, we are getting this first infested mine set up as our little mistlands base. We have moved our portal down here, and we have a shitty little door to block it off for now, but hopefully it'll keep things out in general. But we got to go head back to base to get everything that we need for our black forge, as we finally, after 3 dungeons and probably 12 hours of despair trying to fight through them with shitty silver weapons, we finally have exactly what we need, and we will be able to actually build it. Now on top of that, there's still going to be a whole process that we'll go through partially in this video and partially in the next video, where we're going to have to move a whole bunch of resources and other things from this base base over there. We're not moving over there permanently, and that will be a very small base, but we need the facilities to do things like smelt over there, unless I want to bring the iron all the way back, smelt it, and then bring it back down there, or unless I want to bring the black cores here and worry about that every single time, which doesn't make sense, which means we're probably going to have to bring smelters down there, expand it a little bit, get some flattened area, build some gates around it, actually turn this into a little bit of a base, because just purely the production amount that it takes to build iron and stuff like that doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're setting up a new base from nothing, it does take a decent amount. So like I said, we're going to need to get some other stuff set up so that way we can actually process enough iron and enough bronze, as well as get the scale height and stuff, which isn't as nearly as big of a deal, but just process the iron and bronze to make the chrome and arbalest, as well as we need to bring the roots and stuff down here. Now, the one problem I will have, it's not going to be a big problem, but we will have to do a little bit of sailing to a black forest nearby, is that we do not have any tin to make the bronze. We do have the ability to get copper and to get iron from down here, but we have no ability to get tin. Now, the way that we're going to have to get the 30 iron and 20 bronze that we need for the chrome, as well as the stuff we need for the arbalest and to upgrade both of them, is we are going to have to use the seekers to get iron and copper for me, just as I did before. Now, if you guys weren't here and haven't seen it, first of all, go back and watch the series, but second of all, we are going to have to pretty much get a seeker to follow us around to all of the swords, and for copper, the armor location, and break all of them, and then once we feel like we have enough, we can kill it or leave it alone in case we need it later, and we can head back here and smelt it up and use it for that stuff. But like we said, we also have to bring smelters over here and everything else that we need to possibly process this stuff. We need to also build a forge over here so that we can craft the tin and copper into bronze. We're going to have a little bit of a production over here, no matter how small we want to keep it. But before we do any of that, we're going to have to go find another seeker soldier, mark out some more swords if we run out of them, and also find some more armor spots, get all of that stuff brought back to here, set up some chests so we can store it, and then we'll start working on actually being able to produce that into things like the weapons and anything else that we may need, like a boat to get to the Ashlands. While I get out here to try and find a seeker soldier, though, I have thought of another thing that I can possibly use, but I don't know how good it's going to be. I didn't really realize that there was also the ability to make a Carpus spear. I don't know if it's because normally in playthroughs it's not used very much, and maybe there's a good reason for that, or the fact that when I was looking at what weapons I could use, Mandible didn't really come across my mind as an easily obtainable resource. But either way, we have them, and once we get a little bit of stuff going down here, we will actually be able to make the Carpus spear as a fairly cheap and easily upgradable weapon that will at least be something more powerful than the Fang spear we have, and even if it doesn't help us here, it may help us in other biomes. So I may consider bringing that as well, because it'll probably help us, and like I said, it's fairly cheap and it's stuff that we've already gotten, so I don't know why we wouldn't get that, but I saw that as an option when I was looking in the Black Forge, and it honestly seems like a pretty good option. So we're going to look at making that as well, alongside our common arbalest, and we'll see, maybe I'll discover some more little weapons I didn't think of possibly using. Even if they're not from this biome, there may still be some stuff I haven't thought useful yet that might be. So we're going to go find a seeker soldier. We're going to get it to start breaking stuff. Like I said, we're also going to mark out some things. Oh, okay, we found a seeker soldier. We're going to mark out some things, get this guy to break some stuff. Try not to die too many times, but I'm sure it'll happen, and then we're going to get a move on making some of our weapons, because I'm tired of dying in this Mistlands, and also I am ready to start progressing into the Ashlands as soon as I get this stuff. We have a couple other things to clean up, and we definitely won't be going there this episode, but it could be happening very, very soon, and I'm getting pretty excited to go there, and I'll explain why in that episode. But there's a lot of really cool things I'm excited for, so we're getting close. Like I said, we're getting pretty deep into the playthrough. We need to get this guy to break some stuff, and then we'll be back to talk about where we're going after this. Okay, I may have died while getting him to break some of the stuff, but I did have enough iron from the first little handle being broken to where I could actually build the arbalest, so I went ahead, built a little smelting area. I just threw a kiln and a smelter on the outside up, went back and grabbed the roots, and I can now make the arbalest as well as a couple bolts, which will probably save me a decent amount of deaths when I'm fighting off the seekers and other things trying to help this guy kill me. And I can also kill it when I'm done using this, which will be pretty good, but we do still have to go back and get it to break a lot more. While I'm getting this guy to politely break some stuff, let's talk about a little time reference of how long this series has actually been going. So it just hit day 100, and days in Valheim are 21 minutes and nights are 9 minutes, making a 30-minute day-night cycle. Now, obviously, I have slept through some of the nights, but assuming that a 30-minute day-night cycle, or approximately that we slept through, or even say that approximately we slept through half the nights to be like conservative about time here, we've been playing for 40 to 50 hours, and we are already in the Mistlands. And the only other thing that I've seen of people playing this is that it takes around 120 to 150 hours to beat this entire playthrough on reverse from other people's experience. Now, obviously, there are not that many people that have played from the Ashlands backwards for great reason, but that's the only timing that I've seen, so I feel like we're on track to do pretty good. Now, the Ashlands is going to take a lot of time. There's a likelihood that the Ashlands takes as long as the entire series has taken so far. far, as well as episodes and stuff. The Ashlands is going to be really hard and require significantly more like little tips, tricks, and little resources that we can use along the way, and it's going to be a lot longer of a piece of the series than even probably this entire first 6 biomes. But it makes me feel like we are on track to do this pretty quickly compared to, like I said, the only other times that I've seen, and I don't feel like I'm doing too badly no matter how many times I've died, which even doing this a few times I've died, so it doesn't surprise me. But that's about how long we've spent on the series. We just hit day 100 before we got this gotta break stuff, so that gives you guys an idea of how far we are. And I kind of want to give little day updates like that in this series and other series, just so you guys can tell, like, one, how much time it's taking, or how quickly, like, kind of just get a reference of how quickly the series is going, or how slowly it's going. That way you guys can kind of tell, is it even impressive or not. If it was day 1000 at this point in time, that wouldn't be that cool, but day 100, it's not too bad. I'm feeling pretty good about that. So I wanted to kind of do that in all of the series from now on. If I can, if I see the day time while I'm editing, I can kind of throw in, like, this is how much time it took. That way you guys know. So yeah, for now, we're at day 100, and we're gonna get this guy to break some stuff. I've marked out like 10 or 12 different iron and copper ways, like armor pieces and swords that he can break for me, and a lot of them are right here next to each other, as well as I've marked out some black marble and other stuff that I can get him to break. And assuming that all of that goes well, I'm sure I'll die a few times doing it because I'm getting absolutely whacked right now, but assuming that all goes well, hopefully we'll get enough stuff to at least build up a reserve where we can build Crom later, or maybe we'll get enough to build it now, but I don't necessarily need it anytime like super close, because I do still have a couple other things I need to worry about, which we'll get to in just a second. But for now, if we can get enough for Crom, that would be pretty sick. Alright, well, unfortunately, we're gonna have to kill this Seeker Soldier. I did get it to break a decent amount of stuff for me, but it kind of came down to, did I want it to die as well as the mages around me to die, or did I want some friends in case I needed backup to stay alive and just go ahead and help them kill the Seeker Soldier, because he would likely get them low, they would probably die to something else, and then I'd be out a Seeker Soldier and some friends. So because I know where another Seeker Soldier's at, they were getting into a fight, I just decided to kill the Seeker Soldier with them. And also I got a decent amount of stuff for now, so I can head back, throw the stuff in the smelting section that we made, maybe even show off the smelting section a little bit. Like I said, it's really nothing special, it's just a kiln and a smelter on either side of the platform that I had to kind of mellow out for a sec. I just had to kind of flatten out for a second, but we'll throw the stuff in the smelter, maybe show it off when we get back there, and then head and go. I do know where another Seeker's at. I don't know if I'll have to drag it over here or if I can just have it break stuff over there, but either way I know where another one's at, so it's not that big of a deal, and we'll get some more stuff set up. And we also have, well, at some point have to worry about the tin problem, but we'll get there when we get there. While I've been smelting and grabbing stuff, I've also been, one, I made the Carpus Spear, which is pretty sick, but two, I want to mention that I'm also trying to kill as many hares as I can, one for food, but I also need the Scale Hide for Crom pretty badly, and for the Lightfoot Mead, which I'll need at some point, so we're gonna need quite a bit of that, but I've been just trying to get it as we're just sit here and smelt. We got a little chest set up, we got some other stuff set up around here, we have our smelters outside, so we have a little base here now. This is all we're really gonna need other than the forge, and that's honestly where that first set of copper is gonna go, because I don't really need much more than that, but I do have almost enough iron to at least make Crom, and then I'll have to worry about the bronze, and like I said, the tin problem, but that'll probably be next episode. We got pretty far in this one, but I want you guys to know that these are gonna slow down just a little bit. Now, they're not actually gonna be slowing, they're gonna be about the same length, if not even a little bit shorter length, but the progression is gonna slow a little bit, because these last couple of things before we go to the Ashlands, and once we get deep into the Ashlands, are gonna be really slow steps, because we're gonna be very far behind with the technology or the armor or the amount of damage that we do. We're gonna be very far behind, and everything has to be done very carefully to ensure that we don't lose all of our progress. If our portal gets broken in the Ashlands, or our body gets dropped in a stupid spot, we could be screwed for the entire series and have to go back a little bit. So I need to try and stop that from happening by going slow, doing this as much as I can and as smart as I can, as well as doing this stuff as, like I said, as good as I can, but it may seem like the progression's slowing a little bit, and while we're still taking steps forward, they may start to come to a crawl, because yeah, these last sections are very hard. Now, I do have also a bunch more like iron and copper that are just dropped around because I couldn't carry all of it at once, so I'm gonna run around and grab that and get it smelting as well, but we're definitely not gonna have enough for Crom just yet, so I'll have to go back and grab that other Seeker Soldier. But we're gonna have a little bit of a shorter episode today. We got a decent amount through the Mistlands. We started in our dungeon that we were getting trapped in, despaired for 12 hours over getting absolutely destroyed, but eventually we got our cores, got our little Mistlands base set up, and we are working our way deeply into it. Next episode, we're gonna have to start talking about preparation towards the Ashlands, and if we have enough time, even maybe start heading there and talking about our strategy to get into the Ashlands, as I know that's something that a lot of you guys are fairly curious about, how we're gonna do that. But that's all gonna have to wait till next time. As I mentioned at the beginning, we made it to 2,000 subscribers, and I really appreciate you guys for that, but we got no reason to stop trying to progress. So if you are not subscribed, I am currently trying to make it to 5,000 subscribers. That is the new subscriber goal that I'm gonna set, and if you guys could help me get there, that would mean a lot to me. Either way, thank you guys so much for watching. watching. I do truly hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.